Alright, welcome to the third test of the England vs South Africa series. We have made some changes and we will have to bat in extremely difficult conditions. I'm sure you can see by the bottom left hand corner that it is overcast. The one conditions that I did not want to bat in was extremely overcast conditions. I'm just going to talk over this because it is a bit there is a cut in the video, or there you will see that there is some stoppage, like where you will not see any game, or you'll just see the screen frozen for at least a minute and a bit. That is because Cricket Captain again decided to crash. That is the second time I've had a crash with Cricket Captain during the time when I was recording this footage. So in saying that, I will be unfortunately not doing a live commentary. This is all after the game has occurred. So just a bit of background, I've basically kept the same squad, except I took out Paruk and I brought in Mulder. So it is pretty much one change for our team. I didn't want to change the team too much because I think we were on the verge of getting a victory, and without spoiling this test, we do have a really good chance of winning this test, and you will see in this video. You see one of the stoppages is probably here, so that is when my first crash happened. But pretty much though, I just want to touch on those first two tests. I thought we really should have won that first test. To not defend that total of nearly 300 within 2.5 sessions was an extremely disappointing performance, and unfortunately we now see ourselves 2-0 down in a 5-test series. So we would have to win the next 3 tests to somehow win this series. And this is a part of the Test World Championship, and we were in second position based on last year. This is our first test series of the year, so I think we are in 4th now because we haven't played a test. But we can at least try and win this series and then go on to win the next series, which would then probably see us, I think, first in the World Championship. But it also takes into account these tests, so if you lose a test, you will lose some points. So we have lost 2 tests. We would need to win, as I said, 3 of the tests to win the series, and then obviously you get the bonus points for winning the series as well. We do see here though that maybe Milan and Van Tonda, it could be they're just suited towards English conditions. If you look back at all my opening partnerships, these two seem to be at least the most consistent in the first, let's say, because as I said, I haven't brought another opener over, so these two have been 3 tests in, and you can see they did bring up another 50-run partnership, which is what I do want to see with my opening pairs. Obviously, if we can get onto a big score with no wicket for loss, even better. But if you lose too many early wickets, it's going to be too hard to recover, and that was my biggest issue with a lot of my first and second year matches. We were just losing too many wickets at the top of the order, and it was just creating unequal amount of stress on the batsmen 3, 4 and 5. So by the time they came in and we lost another wicket, it was pretty much impossible to at least post a competitive score. But it is overcast conditions, and we are going at a pretty good rate. We haven't lost the wicket, which is a lot better than what I would have thought. Because generally these are the most difficult conditions to play in. I personally think it's very luck based. Because I mean, I always set my team's aggression to nearly fully defensive in overcast conditions. I don't do it on full defense, because sometimes when you get your team on full defense, they become too complacent, and it's very hard to get them back into tune when you want to up your aggression when, say, overcast conditions have come through. But unfortunately we do have at least another wicket lost here. We do have our first wicket lost here. But I do want to touch on Dean Elgar. He is probably playing his last series, I must add. He is 35 years old. I really had hoped he'd at least be a bit more consistent at the number 3 spot, but unfortunately he hasn't done a lot since I've put him there. He did make I think 70 odd runs in one of the first tests, but again it didn't really matter. If he's not making 100 there, there's really no point for me to consistently consider him for selection. And he has been a fantastic cricketer for South Africa. And I probably should have batted him at 3 when I first took over them against the West Indies. But unfortunately, I did it probably a bit too late. And it's probably going to reflect in his average. But he was only averaging high 30s anyway. It wasn't averaging 40s. So I think moving forward, Dean Elgar will not be considered for selection. I mean, and that could change if he posts some really big scores in the next 2 tests. But I'm going to strongly consider making some changes with Dean Elgar, considering that we will. I mean, if we do. If we are playing in a dead rubber test, he's automatically not getting selection anyway. But I mean, we will see what happens with this result. But England are bowling quite well here, so it is a little bit disappointing that we aren't pushing on for 300. But Milan, can he bring up his... If he does, I think that's his first Test 100 in a first innings. So that is another really good performance. So you guys will probably see this video cut into 2 parts, and that is because, as I said, with the crashes, and it was a bit too hard to maintain a solid recording. So there will be a bit of cut time where you won't see what we are making, but I'll sort of fill you in on when we get there. And I think the first cut is probably coming from now. So this is actually, I think, in the second innings for England. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, we were just having a bit of trouble with, as I said, the recording aspect, so with some crashes. But basically, we ended up setting England a total of, I think it was about 200 and... It was like 200 and something, or it was, yeah, nearly 200. I think it was like 190 or something. And England did make a change. They did drop Zach Crawley. Hazard is actually in. And, I mean, if you see the wicket, it is very sharp turn, and it is very hard to play on. So we do have a really good chance of winning. But we do need to make sure we are consistently getting some wickets here. As you see here, Maharaj does get the wicket of Joe Root out for 1. So the main wickets here is Addy and Stokes. If we can get Addy out and then we can get Stokes out, we are in a massive chance to win. And Maharaj does clean up Addy. Ollie Pope is also going to be a bit dangerous to get out as well. Can Maharaj get Stokes out? I think he doesn't here. No, he doesn't. And we will change our bowlers while this is happening. So England, though, look like they have stacked their chances of winning with Ben Stokes and Ollie Pope. It's going to be a lot harder to probably get Pope out because he is in a bit of he's got his eye in and he's played at nearly 100 balls. But Ben Stokes, if we can get him out, it's even better. You see, England do need under 100 runs to win on the last day, so there will be a result. England will not be holding on for a draw. It's just whether we can hold on for a victory or England can chase this down. So this was actually one of the most nerve-wracking tests I had played in probably any cricket captain game, because I really thought England were going to get this total extremely easy, and the fact that we even had the chance, as you'll see soon, to secure a win is just beyond belief, because I thought we were in a world of trouble in that second innings when we did make a very poor total to defend. But you see here we have taken out Ollie Pope, and England to 5 for 150 odd. They need 69 runs to win. That is another wicket, and we need more. We need 4 wickets to win, and that would mean we would win our first test in this series and keep the test alive in more important matters. So you will see here I do bring on Maharaj. Him and Mulder were probably our most consistent bowlers to keep, and I wasn't really feeling bringing Rabada back on, and it is lunch day 5. It's still pretty much up for grabs. You'd probably say more so England with Ben Stokes in were more likely going to win this, but we do get Weaver out, so England only have 3 wickets remaining. It's going to get right down to the line here in terms of keeping England at bay. If we get Stokes out, I do think we will hang on to the test win. That's pretty much what we need to do. And Maharaj does get Ben Stokes out here, LBW, and we need 1 more wicket, and that should be the win because Azad retired hurt. And you see here on the very next ball, Maharaj comes in and cleans up Matthew Parkinson, and that is the test win. Maharaj, clear best bowler of this second innings, 4 for 70, Mulder 4 for 59, and pretty much everyone else was okay. But that is the 3rd test, and I will see you guys in the 4th test.